when you log into the Vista's super site, the first screen that you'll see will be a table of contents. It is like any other table of contents you'll find in a textbook. And as a matter of fact, that table of contents will correspond with the textbook that you have as well. You can get to that by clicking on V-Text. The textbook has the same chapters that you'll see on the website. As you notice, these correspond. So let's look at a lesson. For instance, lección número 3, la familia, and we'll go into that lesson and then we'll see what all of these menus here at the top do within this lesson, la familia. First, if we go to tutorials, this will bring up a number of lessons or explanations for you. As you can see, these are explanations of how to use perhaps the vocabulary, contextos for instance, and also some hints on pronunciación or pronunciation, a little mini lesson on the estructuras such as adjectives, possessive adjectives, and if you click on them, you'll see that you get a mini explanation, perhaps similar to what you might get from your instructor. So as you're working through the tutorials, you can scroll up again to the menus that you have there and the links and click on the practice link. And here you'll find practice activities for each of the major sections that you saw in the tutorials. So you could scroll down and you'll see you've got activities for the contextos. That corresponds to, or those activities correspond to this particular portion right there. So you got pronunciation. You could scroll back up to practice and look at the pronunciation activities. You'll find estructuras, and these correspond with the estructuras that you saw under tutorials. We were working with descriptive adjectives. You'll also notice that there are extra activities, and for instance here you have a fotonovela, which is going to be a little video about a family on Sunday. So those are nice because they bring the language to life, and you'll see videos throughout this course making the language a lot more real. You'll also find cultura activities in this section. Teach you a little bit about culture. And for instance, if we wanted to look at an activity that corresponded to adjectives, then we would click on one of those. It would appear here. Very simple idea as you fill in the blank on this particular activity, following the directions. And notice too, you've got written accents here. So until you figure out on your computer how to produce written accents in Spanish, you can just click on one of those and that falls into the box that you are working in. So if I wanted to say, La profesora Martínez es simpática, then I want to put a written accent on simpática. And if by clicking on it, it transfers over. When you're done, you can scroll down to the bottom and submit your answers. What's really neat about this is that while you're working on an activity, if you want to go to the textbook to see more information about that activity or about that structure that you're working with, then you could click on here and it will take you to the textbook or the portion of the textbook that talks about descriptive adjectives. It'll describe different aspects of this grammatical construct within the textbook, and you can navigate through those pages, maybe look at one of the practice activities that goes along with that in the textbook as well. And you can also go backwards and look at the textbook just like you would a hard copy textbook to orient yourself to the structure you're working on. You can get to the textbook anytime you want just by simply clicking on vText. Get a detailed explanation to complement the tutorials. There is an important aspect of the practice tab that you will need to pay attention to throughout the semester. Your teacher will assign you to do particular activities. You're encouraged to do all of the activities, especially since this is an online course. You really need to make sure that you do as much practicing as possible and not do the bare minimum. Your teacher, however, will assign to you particular activities that need to be done in a particular lección or lesson. The due date will appear in the column next to the link for a particular activity. So whenever you begin a chapter, it is your responsibility to look through the practice tab to see what activities are going to be required of you and by when. Finally, you will notice on the right side of the page a column that says Student Tools. You need to be very well aware of the information that is there. Your instructor might post announcements there. You also have here media resources such as textbook audio, video that corresponds to the course, a mini dictionary, some verb references and a grammar reference, and if you want to acquaint yourself with what all the little icons mean, just take some time to learn these right here. Notice too that Vista Higher Learning offers support at this link under questions. It's really a good idea to begin the semester, in any semester, by walking yourself through the student guided tour.